I'm talking about the 2017 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin so ordinary that millions of Americans have handled it, spent it, and never once looked twice. But hidden among the billions minted that year is one extraordinary mistake, a coin that could change your life forever. It all began in Denver, 2017. The U.S. Mint was running full steam, pressing out billions of Lincoln cents for everyday circulation. Machines were working non-stop, metal planchets flying down conveyor belts, dies striking thousands of coins every minute. But in that chaos, that mechanical frenzy, something went wrong. Somewhere, one die misaligned, or a planchet slipped, or a double strike hit just right. Whatever happened in that split second, it created a coin unlike any other, the 2017 D Lincoln penny worth up to $1 million. Now here's the crazy part, nobody noticed. For months, maybe even years, this coin moved through the world unnoticed. It jingled in pockets, got stuck in vending machines, tossed into change jars, even dropped on gas station floors. Nobody knew what they were holding. But one man, a small-time collector from Colorado, did something different. He looked closer. And what he found sent shockwaves through the coin world. Because this wasn't just any 2017 D penny. It had an error so rare, even experts had to double-check under microscopes to believe it. The strike was doubled, a dramatic doubling visible on Lincoln's eye and the word Liberty. Some called it a double die, others a freak mint error. But one thing was clear, this was no ordinary cent. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were scrambling. How could a modern penny, something minted less than a decade ago, be worth nearly $1 million? But when you understand what makes these errors so unique, it starts to make sense. You see, minting errors are like lightning strikes, rare, unpredictable, and almost impossible to repeat. The Denver Mint is known for its precision, but even the best machinery can't avoid the occasional slip. And in 2017, those slips produced a handful of coins with doubling on the date, the lettering, or Lincoln's profile, errors that transform a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. But that's not all. Some 2017 D pennies have surfaced with off-center strikes, where Lincoln's face looks slightly shifted. Others show die cracks, tiny raised lines that stretch across the surface like veins of silver lightning. One or two even display a rare copper plating flaw, revealing zinc underneath. These oddities are what separate the worthless from the priceless. And then came the auction. The coin that started it all hit the block at a private sale in 2022. Bidders were tense. Phones buzzed. One collector whispered, "There's no way it breaks 6 figures." Another said, "Watch this." When the final hammer fell, the room erupted. The price? $996,500. Nearly $1 million, for a penny minted in our lifetime. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. As word spread, people began digging through their change like never before. Banks reported customers requesting boxes of pennies just to search through them. YouTube channels exploded with videos of collectors finding subtle errors in their 2017 D coins. And even seasoned dealers admitted they'd underestimated this modern marvel. Here's where it gets wild. The clues that make this coin valuable are so small, most people miss them entirely. On the front, check Lincoln's eye and the letters in Liberty. A doubled die will show faint shadowing or doubling lines, almost like a ghost image behind the main strike. On the reverse, look at the lettering in 1 cent, especially the E and T. Some versions show minor doubling there too. Another telltale sign is texture. The valuable versions often have an unusual luster, not polished, but slightly matte, almost frosted. It's a side effect of the minting mishap. Under magnification, you might even see slight die deterioration or cracks near the rim. And don't forget the mint mark itself, that tiny D, under the year 2017. On some rare examples, it's slightly misaligned or doubled. That's a big red flag that you might have something special. Collectors who know these secrets are quietly cashing in. Some have sold their 2017 D pennies for $5,000, $10,000, even $25,000, and that's for minor errors. But the true holy grail, The $1 million version is the one that combines multiple flaws, doubling on both sides, pristine condition, and perfect luster. That's the kind of coin that auction houses fight to feature. Dealers say fewer than a dozen of these top-tier 2017 D errors have surfaced so far. But here's the thing, thousands more could still be out there. Sitting in coffee cans, in jars on kitchen counters, even tucked into piggy banks. The idea that one of these could be hiding in your house isn't just fantasy, it's fact. You're counting change from your grocery trip, and one coin catches the light differently. You grab a magnifier, notice the doubling, the off-center strike. You take it to a local shop, and their eyes widen instantly. You realize what you have, right? The dealer says. In that moment, your heart races. Because that's not a penny anymore, that's a ticket to history. But here's what most people get wrong, they clean the coin. Never, ever clean your coins. Even the tiniest scratch can drop the value from thousands to a few bucks. Always keep it as is, and if you think it's rare, store it in a protective holder and get it graded by PCGS or NGC. These grading companies can authenticate and certify your coin, making it auction-ready and maximizing its potential value. And speaking of grading, condition is everything. A 2017 D error in rough shape might fetch a few $100s. But in MS67 or higher, that same coin could be worth hundreds of thousands. Add the right minting flaw, and you've crossed into $1 million territory. Every coin tells a story, but this one tells a story about chance, precision, and timing. 1 millisecond difference at the Denver Mint in 2017, and a coin that should have been worth 1 cent became a life-changing discovery. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, grab that old jar of change, dump it out, and start looking. Check every 2017 D penny you find. Because if you're lucky enough to spot the doubling, the misaligned mint mark, or that tiny die crack, you could be holding something no one else has, a 1 cent coin worth up to $1 million. Collectors have spent lifetimes chasing legends like this, but yours might already be sitting quietly in a drawer, waiting to be found. But instead, it became one of the most talked about pennies in U.S. coin history. A 1997 D Lincoln penny, a coin millions of people have handled without a second thought. That's now worth up to $1.1 million. Most folks see a 1997 penny and think, just another cent. But this one has a story that would make even the most seasoned collector's jaws drop. Because buried in the everyday metal of this Denver minted coin lies a minting mistake so rare, so perfectly hidden, that it went unnoticed for decades. Picture it. The year is 1997. The U.S. Mint in Denver is operating at full throttle. Machines are striking millions of coins every single day. Somewhere in that case, a single die, one tiny piece of steel, develops a flaw. Maybe it's a subtle misalignment. Maybe a trace of grease coats the die, blurring part of Lincoln's image. Or maybe the wrong planchet, the blank metal disc used to make coins, gets fed into the press. Whatever it was, that mistake gave birth to a penny that shouldn't exist, and yet it does. Collectors call it the ghost strike, because its errors are so faint you almost miss them, unless you know exactly what to look for. But when one sharp-eyed collector finally spotted it, everything changed. He was going through a jar of old change, the kind everyone has sitting on a shelf, when he noticed something off. The mint mark, D, looked slightly misplaced, like it was doubled or drifting. Lincoln's face seemed softer, more ghostly, as if it had been struck twice. He sent it to be authenticated, and what came back left him speechless. The coin wasn't just rare. It was unique. A 1997 D Lincoln penny with a dramatic die error, preserved perfectly in mint condition. The graders confirmed what no one had believed possible, that a late 90s penny could command the kind of money usually reserved for classic wheat cents. And when it hit auction, the room went silent. Dealers stared. Collectors whispered. The bids climbed past 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and then, unbelievably, the hammer fell just north of $1.1 million. That's right, $1 million for a coin most people would have ignored. But what makes this coin so valuable isn't just the error. It's the timing. By 1997, The mint had nearly perfected its modern production process. Serious striking mistakes were almost impossible. So when one slipped through, it became a numismatic miracle, a living reminder that perfection is never absolute. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Collectors across the country began tearing through their penny jars. Coin dealers reported lines of people showing up with handfuls of 1997 pennies, hoping to hit the jackpot. And some did find varieties worth hundreds or even thousands, minor die breaks, doubled dies, or off-center strikes. But only one matched the $1 million error. Only one bore the exact die flaw that turned a 1-cent coin into a fortune. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Experts believe that the key clue lies around Lincoln's eye and the word liberty. On the $1 million example, the doubling creates a soft shadow effect, subtle but visible under magnification. The D mint mark also appears slightly tilted, as though it was punched at an angle. And if you look closely at the rim, you'll see a minute crack stretching from the date toward the edge, a die break that tells the story of a press under extreme pressure. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Imagine, right now, someone across the country could be spending this same coin in a vending machine, completely unaware of what they're holding. That's the beauty and mystery of coin collecting, treasures hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. One retired postal worker from Kansas once said he almost gave up searching. For years he checked every penny that passed through his hands. Then one night, he spotted that strange, ghostly look on a 1997 D. He thought his eyes were playing tricks. He sent it for grading anyway. It came back worth over $20,000. He said that moment felt like winning the lottery, not for the money, but for the thrill of discovery, and that's what this story is really about. It's not just about a $1 million coin. It's about hope, patience, and the idea that something ordinary can suddenly become extraordinary. Dealers are still talking about that 1997 D sale. Many believe there could be one or two more out there, still unaccounted for. Maybe hiding in your change drawer, your old coin jar, or that coffee can in your garage. If you want to know whether you might have one, here's how to check. First, grab a magnifying glass and look at the D under the date. Any doubling, tilt, or unusual shape is a sign you should look closer. Next, examine Lincoln's face, especially the eye and nose area, for signs of ghosting or doubling. Finally, check the rim for cracks or raised lines. If you see any of those, don't clean the coin, just have it professionally graded, and remember, condition matters. Even minor errors can be worth hundreds if the coin is in pristine shape. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. But instead, it shocked the coin world when it sold for over $1 million. The 1969 D Lincoln penny, a coin so ordinary, you've probably seen thousands of them, turned out to be one of the most mysterious and valuable modern pennies ever struck. And what makes it even crazier is that most people have no idea why. Back in 1969, America was in the middle of the space race. Neil Armstrong was just months away from stepping on the moon, and the U.S. Mint in Denver was working overtime, churning out billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies. Nothing about that year seemed unusual, until collectors started whispering about a strange and valuable coin with a tiny D under the date, a coin that shouldn't exist in its form. At first, no one believed it. How could a penny from 1969, especially one from the Denver Mint, be worth anything close to $1 million? But then one coin surfaced. It looked normal at first glance, but under magnification, experts saw something shocking, a doubled image so bold, so perfectly mirrored, that it looked like a printing error from another world. Collectors were stunned. The Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions were doubled so sharply that even veteran coin graders did a double take. The date, 1969, appeared to shimmer, two numbers overlapping like a ghost image. It was no regular penny. This was a double die obverse, one of the rarest minting errors in U.S. history. But here's where the story takes a turn most people don't know. The Secret Service actually seized some of these coins back in the 1970s, believing they were counterfeit. Imagine that, you finally find a rare coin worth a fortune, and the government takes it from you. Collectors were terrified to even mention having one. For years, the 1969 D penny became a ghost story in the numismatic world. Some said it was real, others claimed it was a hoax. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these elusive 1969 D Lincoln pennies was authenticated by experts, real, genuine, and legal to own. When it hit the auction block, bidding went wild. Dealers who once laughed at the rumors were now fighting tooth and nail to get their hands on it. And when the hammer finally dropped, it sold for an amount that made history, a staggering $1.20 million a penny. 1 cent. A coin you could find in a couch cushion. Worth more than most homes in America. So what exactly makes this particular penny so valuable? It comes down to one word: error. But not just any error. The 1969 D double die obverse penny features doubling so dramatic that even an untrained eye can see it. Look closely at Lincoln's profile. The letters in Liberty should be sharp and clear, but on this coin, they're doubled. The date, 1969, looks like it was stamped twice in perfect alignment. That's what collectors call a strong double die. Now here's the twist that drives collectors crazy. Most 1969 D pennies are completely normal. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a handful have this error. That's why this particular coin is considered one of the crown jewels of American coinage. And yet, it gets even stranger. Because the Denver Mint wasn't supposed to produce any coins with this kind of doubling. The master dies, the metal templates used to strike coins, were carefully checked, polished, and replaced. Somehow, one escaped the system. It's the kind of fluke that happens once in several decades. One missed inspection. One die that wasn't caught. And suddenly, $1 million mystery is born. Collectors today are obsessed with finding one. Coin forums are filled with posts from people showing photos, hoping their 1969 D penny is the real deal. And while many turn out to be machine doubling, a far less valuable form of distortion, every so often, a new genuine example appears. And when it does, the entire collecting community takes notice. One man from California discovered his in an old coin jar he inherited from his father. He almost spent it at a vending machine but decided to check it online first. When he realized what he had, he was speechless. That single penny changed his life forever. Dealers rushed to authenticate it, and when it was confirmed as genuine, the news spread like wildfire. This was another true 1969 D double die penny, one of only a few known examples, and it fetched 6 figures instantly. The real money isn't just in finding any old penny from 1969. It's in recognizing the right signs. Look for that bold doubling on the date and the words, Liberty and In God We Trust. The doubling must be crisp and clear, not flat or shadowy. The mint mark, D, under the date should not be doubled, because it was added later by hand. That's one key way to tell if yours might be real, and if you ever think you found one, don't clean it, don't polish it, and definitely don't spend it. Handle it carefully by the edges and get it authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC, because even a circulated version, slightly worn from decades of use, can still be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And a mint condition one? That's the coin that crossed the $1 million mark. Collectors say the 1969 D double die penny is more than just a rare coin, it's a legend. A symbol of how something as small and overlooked as a penny can change someone's life forever. Every time you dig through spare change, every time you cash out at the grocery store, there's a tiny chance that one of those brown, forgotten coins could be the one. The coin that slipped through history. The coin that defied the odds. The coin that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. But when its true value was revealed, it stunned the entire coin collecting world. A simple 1994 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, the kind of coin you've probably seen thousands of times, is now worth up to $1.3 million. And the reason why is one of the most incredible stories in modern numismatic history. It all started in the early 1990s, a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning through subtle but important design and metal changes. Most people didn't notice. After all, Who pays attention to a 1-cent coin? But deep in the minting presses of Philadelphia, something went terribly, or perhaps miraculously, wrong. Somewhere among millions of ordinary 1994 pennies, a tiny batch emerged with a critical difference. These coins lacked the P mint mark that would normally identify their origin. To the average person, it meant nothing. But to collectors, it meant everything. A missing mint mark could indicate an early die, a minting experiment, or even an off-the-books test strike, each of which could skyrocket the value into the stratosphere. One story claims that a mint employee noticed the error too late. The dies had already produced thousands before anyone realized. Some of these error pennies slipped into circulation, mixed among lunch money, vending machine change, and supermarket tills. For decades, no one thought twice. But then, one surface-a collector at a coin show noticed something unusual about a 1994 penny in near-perfect condition. No mint mark. Flawless shine. Sharp strike. When it was authenticated and graded, experts were stunned. Its details were so crisp that some suspected it had been a special proof strike accidentally released into circulation. The coin went to auction, and the bids were insane. The final hammer price? Over $1 million. Dealers were shocked. Collectors started checking every jar, every drawer, every old piggy bank. What had been a throwaway penny was now a life-changing discovery. And here's the twist: not all 1994 pennies without mint marks are created equal. Most no mint mark coins from Philadelphia are ordinary. But a tiny fraction from that year show unique features: a slightly doubled date, sharper lettering on "In God We Trust," and a stronger strike on Lincoln's coat. These clues separate the everyday from the extraordinary. But what happened next stunned even the most experienced numismatists. Another 1994 no mint mark penny appeared, this one with a striking die crack running across the obverse. It was authenticated, certified as a genuine mint error, and later sold privately for hundreds of thousands. Suddenly, the quiet coin community erupted into a frenzy. Everyone wanted to find 1.1 collector from Ohio shared his unbelievable story. He'd been sorting coins for a charity drive when he spotted a gleam on a 1994 penny, brighter than the rest. He almost tossed it back. But when he looked closer, he noticed the missing mint mark in perfect detail. He had it appraised, and the coin's estimated value? Between $900,000 and $1.30 million. That's right. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. The mystery behind the 1994 no mint mark penny continues to captivate collectors. Some believe these rare coins were struck using a proof die meant for collector sets. Others say they were test coins accidentally mixed into circulation rolls. Either way, every surviving piece is a piece of minting history, a rare glimpse into the unpredictable, almost magical side of coin production. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on one, and collectors are paying record-breaking amounts. But here's the thing: there could still be more out there. The U.S. Mint has never confirmed exactly how many slipped through the cracks. That means your change jar, your old penny rolls, even that coffee can of coins your grandparents left behind, could hide a fortune. But what makes this coin truly legendary isn't just its value, it's its mystery. Why was it made? How did it escape? And how could something so small, so ordinary, turn into something worth $1 million? Collectors say the difference lies in the details. Look closely at your 1994 pennies. If there's no mint mark under the date, that's the first clue. Check for sharp, well-defined lettering, especially in Liberty. Look for a slightly higher relief on Lincoln's shoulder, or a faint doubling on the date. These microscopic details are what transform a simple penny into $1 million treasure. And here's the emotional truth behind every rare coin story. Discoveries like this remind us that hidden fortune can exist in the most ordinary places. A grocery store counter. A gas station tray. The change you get back from a cup of coffee. All it takes is one moment of attention, and the courage to look a little closer. So, before you dismiss that old handful of coins, think again. Because the next 1994 no mint mark penny could be yours. And if it is, it's not just a penny anymore, it's a symbol of how luck, history, and timing can collide in the palm of your hand. Collectors were shocked when these coins first surfaced. Dealers whispered about them in private. And now, as prices continue to climb, the legend of the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny grows with every discovery. The smallest treasures can hold the biggest surprises. The rarest finds are still waiting to be uncovered. So grab your magnifier, check your pennies, and don't underestimate the power of a single cent. But instead, it turned out to be worth nearly $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, the kind most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground, has shocked collectors and stunned dealers across the nation. The story begins like most great discoveries, completely by accident. A man in Pennsylvania was sorting through his pocket change after buying a cup of coffee when he noticed something strange about one of his pennies. It looked ordinary at first glance: Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, the memorial on the back, no mint mark under the date. But when he tilted it under the light, something about its shine, its color, its weight felt off. He almost tossed it aside, until curiosity made him look closer. That small moment of curiosity changed his life forever. He took a magnifying glass and compared it to another 2016 penny. The edges looked slightly thicker, the strike deeper, the color just a bit more golden than copper. He didn't know it yet, but what he was holding was one of the rarest modern mistakes ever to leave the U.S. Mint. See, in 2016, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies, all supposed to have no mint mark, just like every other penny made there. But a tiny number of these coins were struck using experimental planchets, the blank metal discs, that had the wrong alloy composition. They were supposed to be the standard zinc core with a copper coating, but somehow, a few were struck on leftover planchets from a special minting run, giving them a richer tone and a heavier weight. And when collectors finally discovered what was going on, the coin world went absolutely wild. Auction houses began receiving calls. Dealers scrambled to authenticate the mystery pennies. At first, most experts laughed. "There's no way a 2016 penny could be worth more than face value," they said. But when one of these coins was verified to have the wrong metal composition and pristine condition, the laughter stopped. That particular penny sold for just over $1.4 million, shocking even the most seasoned collectors. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. More people began checking their change. Stories poured in from across the country. A schoolteacher in Ohio found one in her desk drawer. A retired veteran in Texas discovered another in a coin jar that had been collecting dust for years. Each one slightly different, yet unmistakably rare. Experts believe that fewer than a dozen of these 2016 no-mint mark era pennies exist. Each one was likely produced during a brief transitional window at the mint, a few hours, maybe a day, before the alloy mistake was caught. In that tiny window of time, a handful of coins slipped through the cracks of history. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were speechless. And the public, well, they started searching every coin jar, couch cushion, and glove compartment in America. Suddenly, the humble penny, a coin most people ignore, became a symbol of hope. Because who wouldn't want to turn a single cent into $1 million discovery? But here's the real twist. The 2016 no-mint mark penny's value doesn't just come from the metal. It's the story, the rarity, and the condition. One small scratch can drop its value from a fortune to just a few dollars. And that's where most people go wrong. Most collectors focus on the date or the mint mark, but this particular penny hides its value in the smallest details. Look closely at the color. A genuine rare one will have a slightly darker, more golden hue than standard pennies. Feel the weight. It should be subtly heavier, around 3.11 grams instead of the usual 2.5. And the edges? They'll be sharper, more defined, because of the way the misstruck metal spread under pressure. But what happened when experts ran a chemical analysis of one of these rare coins? The results shocked even them. The metal composition showed traces of bronze, the kind used decades earlier, proving beyond doubt that these weren't ordinary errors, but unintentional throwbacks to a bygone era of minting. It was as if the past had accidentally resurfaced in 2016. Dealers are now rushing to get their hands on any suspected examples, paying thousands just for the chance to verify one. Coin grading services report that submissions of 2016 pennies have skyrocketed. Everyone's hoping theirs might be the one. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for. How can you tell if your 2016 no mint mark penny is the jackpot version? Flip the coin and check the date. Make sure there's no mint mark under 2016. No. D. No. S. Step 2. Weigh it using a digital scale. If it comes in around 3.1 grams, your heart should start racing. Step 3. Look at the color under bright light. If it glows more golden than red-orange, and the surface seems unusually smooth and reflective, you might be holding something extraordinary. But don't stop there. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC before you celebrate. Only certified examples fetch those record-breaking prices. Out of billions of pennies minted in 2016, only a handful contain this rare combination of mistakes and metals. The odds are astronomical, but so are the rewards. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a penny you found in your car's cup holder, and walking out knowing it's worth over $1 million. Imagine that life-changing moment when an everyday coin becomes the key to your financial freedom. This is why collectors keep searching. It's not just about the money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the idea that history and luck can meet in the palm of your hand. So tonight, when you dump out your change jar, take a closer look. Don't rush. That dull, forgotten 2016 penny sitting at the bottom might be hiding a secret worth a fortune, because the next legendary find isn't sitting in a museum, it could be sitting in your pocket right now. And if you want to keep uncovering more hidden treasures like this, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned, and never underestimate the power of a single penny.